Well, what is going on, gang? It's very nice to have you here today. Thank you so much for stopping by, and welcome to A Therapeutic Edge. I've got something on the table that is new to me. This is the Spyderco SpyMyto, S-P-Y-M-Y-T-O. This is a collaboration with LionSteel over in Italy, and it is, well, it's interesting. I picked this up, again, from a buddy named Napsterninja. You're going to hear that name a lot over the next few weeks. He had it. He didn't love it entirely, and I picked it up, and I did. So let's take a look at what you get with the SpyMyto here. Now, this is not the first time that Spyderco has worked with LionSteel. They do some interesting stuff. It's got a very LionSteel pocket clip with the Spyderco spoon. So make what you will of that. It's got a free floating back spacer. That's very nice. I think it's G10 is what it feels like. It is a Micarta scale, full titanium lock side with a steel lock bar insert. M398, not M390, M398 blade with the Spidey hole. It's got a flipper tab, but we'll get to that in a second. M398 is not as tough. It's slightly different metallurgy. It's got a slightly different set of characteristics than the M390. I've had a couple of M398 blades, and I like it just fine. You have a little bit of LionSteel logoing on that side, and right, it says made in Italy there, and then on this side it's Spyderco M398 with the spider. I really like this thing. It is just exactly my kind of very comfortable neutral handle. The Spidey hole gives you a lovely ramp for your thumb. It gives you a place to put your finger when you're doing draw cuts. I did read online some complaints about how thick this thing is behind the edge. Not going to lie, it's not exactly a laser beam, but I did see some complaints about the actual stock bevel, and other than a little tiny bit of smile flare, if you will, right here, right there, mine is perfectly even all the way up the knife. And I did find a website where you can get aftermarket scales for this, so I think I may do that. Pocket clip is reversible because you can just loosen this screw on the back and flip it to the other side. But because it's a frame lock, it's really not that useful to lefties. I mean, I know a lot of lefties that do it, but anyway, you can deploy the knife with the traditional Spidey flick. You can use the really nice little flipper tab. And of course, because it's got that hole, you can roll it out if you're at an office lunchroom and don't want to scare everybody to death. It is a nice size knife for that too. But first, let's do something. I mentioned that it comes with a flipper tab. The folks at LionSteel have done removable tabs before. I don't usually do it, except in this case. Let's just take that all the way off. See? It's just a little titanium tab with a screw. In this case, I really like the lines of the knife better without it. Right? It does diminish your opening options by one, but it's a Spyderco, so I open it that way all the time anyway. So that's how it's going to live. I do have a little box. Then I'm going to keep that in, because if I put that in something smaller, I'm going to lose it. All right, so the SpyMyto, let's take a look at what you get. You get, we line it up right there, you get 3 1/4 inches of cutting on just shy of 3 1/4 inches of cutting on just over 3 1/4 inches of that M398. The grip area from behind the swell, and now that we've removed that flipper tab, you get 3 3/4 inches back to there, which means it just sits in my hand beautifully. Overall knife from tip to tail is coming in at 7 3/4 inches. I just reviewed the SOCOM Bravo Mini, and these knives are very similar in overall size and in blade size. This is a slightly better slicer. Now, these were, what were these? These were about $250 when they were new. The problem is this was sort of call it a sprint run, so you're not going to find one readily available right now. They may do more as you go down the road. Without that flipper tab, though, I just really enjoy it. So the closed length on this guy is 4.5. The in-the-pocket profile would be very lean except for the Spidey hole. So you're looking at 1.75 inches, excuse me, out here at the absolute heftiest. But it does ride the pocket very well. Let's do some size comparisons with knives you may recognize. We'll go ahead and line that up on that line. Here it is against the, well, let's do this. Here it is against the Yojimbo 2. As you can see, these knives are very similar in size. However, if we put it up against the Yojimbo, you can see the LionSteel Spyderco here is much smaller. Now, just to, you know, be that way about it, here it is against a full-size grip. And as you can see, the SpyMyto is a little bit shorter than a full-size grip, and you get a little bit less cutting. And of course, our old friend, the bug out, which should be very similar. Yeah, need a little less blade and a little less knife with the bug out. And just because I had it out a second ago, here it is once again against the Mini SOCOM Bravo. And since we're doing that, let's move this down. Here it is against the full-size SOCOM Bravo. Yeah, the SpyMyto here, by the way, I don't love the name, but I didn't name it and they didn't ask me, has become, in the last week or so that I've had it, just a personal favorite. I find myself dropping it in the pocket a lot more than I thought I would. And it comes down to handle shape. It really does. It's a tough, usable blade, right? Very rust and stain resistant. M398 is that way. Holds a lovely edge. But this handle is just stupid comfortable. It really is. Let's go ahead and weigh it out. Well, I'll tell you what, since you guys are watching this, if you get this far, should I put the flipper tab back on or should I leave it off? Tell me down in the comments. All right. The SpyMyto comes in at 3.5 ounces, which is right at that ounce per inch. Just about. It's a really nice weight for a knife. And let's see how much of that. By the way, look how the crowning on the spine. Everything on this knife is. Can you see? By the way, can you see the texturing? Yeah, there it is. On the titanium side of this thing, everything on this knife is designed to give you. It's right where your fingers rest on this side. It just gives you a little more grip. It's very nicely done. There's a little more on that side. But everything is soft, right? It's got the flat right here. It's a lovely drop point. Everything is just sort of soft edges. Nothing grips your finger. Even the milling around the inside of the Spidey hole is, you know, by comparison with a standard Spyderco, which is very sharp, this is soft. It's just really well done. I wish they did this on everything. The one place this does have a very nice edge is right where you want it. All right, let's take a look at how much of that M398 they give you. We'll come right back here to the fattest point. Just 4 millimeters even. So it is. That's why it's a little bit thick behind the edge. It is a relatively thick slice of that M398. It doesn't show because this is crowned, but I mean, look at that. It's a fairly thick piece of steel. You know, by way of comparison, here it is against the Yojimbo. And it just kind of fools you because this is all squared off, but I love this thing. You can find these on eBay. Prices may vary. Here's the thing. I want Spyderco to keep doing stuff like this. I mean, they could make... where did they go? They can make the PM2 and the Para 3 forever. And they will, right? But I want them to keep trying other things. Stuff like this. It's not for everybody. Lots of people online had the complaints. Of course, that's what people do online anyway. But for those of us that collect knives, that both use them and collect them because they're interesting, stuff like this is really the way to go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been the Spyderco SpyMyto. SpyMyto. A collaboration between Spyderco and LionSteel. It is a really good blade steel. It is really well made, and I am very happy that I have one. I hope you've enjoyed this look at it. Anyway, gang, remember, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We'll see you next time.